Militants have launched an attack on a military base in Kabul. 11 soldiers have been killed, 16 others wounded. Let's show you where this happened. We've been hearing from eyewitnesses. They said explosions hit an area near the Marshal Fahim National Defence University, which is west of the city centre in Kabul. The attack, we know, being claimed by so-called Islamic State. But it's been just a horrific week in the Afghan capital. 2 days after an ambulance bomb in the city killed more than 100 people. We also had that attack on the luxury hotel just over a week ago as well. Secunda Kamani is in Kabul for us and has more details.
Well, this attack began at around 5 in the morning local time and lasted for a number of hours. It's now over. There were 5 militants involved, quite heavily armed it seems, some of them carrying rocket-propelled grenade launchers, others wearing suicide vests. 4 of the attackers were either killed or blew themselves up. One of them was captured alive by the security forces. This attack just comes 2 days after more than 100 people were killed in another attack that was carried out by the Taliban in the center of Kabul, in which over 100 people were killed when an ambulance packed with explosives was blown up on a busy street right near to a police compound. Today's attack has been carried out by the so-called Islamic State group, and it's part, it seems, of a pattern of increasing levels of violence in the city.
So a violent and insecure time, not only in Kabul, but right across Afghanistan. I've been speaking to analyst Haroon Mir. He co-founded the Afghanistan Centre for Research and Policy Studies in Kabul, and I asked him how it feels to be in the city right now and how the security situation is overall.
Well, we have lived through violence in Afghanistan for the past decade, and even according to our own standards of violence, daily violence in Afghanistan, this past week was terrible for Afghans because life is almost paralyzed in the capital city. The government is not functioning and people are not going out of their houses and schools are closed. So, and even according to our own standards, it is terrible for people, and people are frustrated. The frustration is not only because of the current level of violence. The frustration is mainly vis-a-vis of the Afghan government. We ask why the government is not able to prevent these kind of attacks, and how come a couple of terrorists are capable of paralyzing the entire city and almost paralyzing the entire government as well.
Haroon, this attack has been claimed not by the Taliban, but by the so-called Islamic State. Could you explain how strong they are in Afghanistan right now and how they operate?
Well, there is a total confusion right now in Afghanistan about the Islamic State. Sometimes these terrorist groups carry 2 flags, one Taliban flag and another one the Islamic State flag, and it depends on the circumstances. Then they raise one flag in order to claim one of these attacks. But we don't know to what extent the IS is capable of developing these kind of sophisticated networks, because the latest attack, the attack this morning in the military school, is not something easy and simple. So it required a lot of work, a lot of preparation and planning and execution. And we don't know if at the operational level IS is as well developed as the Akani network, because we know that behind many attacks in Kabul, the Akani network is involved, but we don't know to what extent IS is capable of conducting similar type of sophisticated terrorist attacks in the city. So,
Haroon, is there a thought that IS is working with other groups then?
Yes, indeed. And many foreign fighters, they have changed their allegiances from the Taliban to the IS. And we know that IS is trying to establish a foothold in Afghanistan. In particular, in eastern Afghanistan, we have high mountains, and these mountains are covered with forests. So these areas are difficult for any military to go after them. And so they are in the process of establishing a foothold and expanding their territory from eastern Afghanistan to northeast and also to the northern Afghanistan. We know it's a risk, another security risk for Afghanistan, but not only for Afghanistan, but also for our neighbors, because our neighbors are also fearing a presence of Daesh in Afghanistan, because we know that the aim of Daesh is not, they are not limited to one territory and one geography. They want to expand their activity to the entire Islamic world, and now their target is mainly Central Asia and also China.
Very quickly then, Haroon, if you can answer this quickly. President Ghani, his US allies, under huge amount of pressure. What can be done?
Well, the president has been under pressure for the past 3 years because of internal political problems. We are living right now through going through a deep political crisis, and for president, it's very difficult to address all these challenges. It's not only security; it's also economic challenges. You saw the wave of Afghan refugees going out of Afghanistan towards Europe and mainly Germany. So we have so many challenges that we have to address, and security is on the top of all of it. So, and President Ghani is struggling to address these challenges, and people are demanding more. And since we are a democracy, so he has no more than a year or maximum 2. So, and it will be very difficult to address these challenges in a short period of time.
Haroon Mir joining me from Kabul.